It's Ravens versus Browns this week, and our Ravens channel here at Chat Sports is trailing our Cleveland Browns one by over 1,000 subscribers, which is pretty darn disappointing since the Ravens are, of course, the better football team this year. So if you're a Ravens fan out there watching for the first time, the second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever, and you're not subscribed, let's get that changed. We're going to have videos for you guys all season and off season long. So if you want all that for free, subscribe today, youtube.com/RavensTV. Let's preview this week's game as the Ravens take on the Cleveland Browns, a fairly massive AFC North matchup. There's playoff implications, there's seeding, and of course the division could be pretty impacted by this particular game. The Ravens are at home against the Browns, and they're a relatively narrow favorite this week as it's on Sunday Night Football, prime time, always so intriguing. So interesting. In theory, Lamar Jackson will be out there for the Baltimore Ravens. We'll see if that really ends up being the case here, but I think he will be able to play. We'll spend some more time here on Lamar in just a little bit. The Ravens are favorites, as they should be. They are the better football team with the better quarterback, playing better football right now, even with all of their own injury situations they've dealt with this season. So before we go any further, I want to hear from you guys. Predict the score for me of this week's game. Browns, Ravens. I assume pretty much all of you guys are going to be picking the Ravens to win this matchup, but I just want to make sure that ends up being the case. So when you make your score predictions for me in the comments, include which team you've got winning. Head down there and let me know. Let's talk Lamar Jackson now, as Lamar, of course, missed last week's game, a pretty noteworthy absence for the Ravens star quarterback, which was a big disappointment since, well, at least they won the game, I suppose, in the end, but fantasy owners were very much in shambles there. Head coach John Harbaugh says that Lamar feels much better right now, and he was very sick with something. It was not COVID-19. Whatever Lamar was dealing with, though, was clearly enough to keep him out of the game against the Bears. All signs, though, are pointing to Jackson being cleared, being back, and being good to go in a very important game in primetime on Sunday Night Football. Now, Lamar's raw passing numbers might not look great, but when you want to talk about value, what that brings to a player, it is significant. Lamar Jackson's value is up there with pretty much any player in the NFL. He has been that good this season. And I know the raw numbers might not reflect it, but it really is the case as we sit right now. And of course, he's such a dynamic runner as well, averaging a nice flat 6.0 yards. Actually down. His rushing average has dropped from 2019 to 2020 to this year, despite that he does lead the NFL, at least among quarterbacks, in yards per attempt. He is dynamic. He is electric. He is a massive, if not the most important quarterback for his team because of how much he truly makes the offense go. So what do you think? Do the Ravens need Lamar Jackson to beat the Browns on Sunday Night Football? I want your honest answers here. So this is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. If you get the ad break here on YouTube, head down to the comment section, type Y for yes or type N for no. Let's look at these two teams in terms of their offensive production, their statistics. Much has been made about Baker Mayfield, who we'll get to here in just a little bit. But the passing numbers are not good for the Browns. The Ravens have historically been, with Lamar Jackson, one of, if not the outright best rushing teams in the NFL. That is still the case on the ground, but the Browns are just as good. In fact, they've been better on the ground this season. Both of these teams want to be able to run the football. The Browns in a more typical, hand it off to Nick Chubb and maybe Kareem Hunt as well. Dearness Johnson when those guys are hurt, of course. The Ravens with a more electric quarterback, Lamar Jackson, helps them run the football a little bit more effectively. Baker Mayfield has not been good this year. There's no way around it. And in large part, I believe because of the injuries he's battling, he has not looked very good. I mean, this production, 26 of 50 for 249, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, that's not good. He was bad last week as the Browns somehow found a way to beat the Lions, as gross as that game was. Baker has to play better, or the Browns, frankly, if he plays like this, I don't think they have any real chance of beating the Ravens unless the Ravens also just absolutely suck it up. Quite simply, Lamar has been a far better quarterback this year. I am a believer in both of those guys. I like both of them a lot coming out of college. Lamar is the better one. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Lamar has been the better passer and certainly the better rusher this year. Yes, Baker's injuries are a factor, but in general, when I'm making predictions to who I think is going to win the game, it's normally, not always, but normally a safe bet just to go with who has the better quarterback. Well, guess who has the better quarterback in this one? It is indeed the Baltimore Ravens. Now, some injury notes on the Browns side, which are significant and will impact how the Ravens try to defend them. First up, Kareem Hunt is back as he has been activated from IR. A nice 69 carries this year. He has been the RB1B to the 1A of Nick Chubb. Having both those guys back will be a big deal for Cleveland, but maybe not as big as getting back Jack Conklin, the very talented tackle for the Browns. Has missed some time with injuries this year as the Browns have also been a little bit banged up here. This one, though, a big deal for the Browns to get back Conklin and Hunt, two big additions to the offense that hasn't looked great even without Odell Beckham Jr. So how confident are you guys in the Ravens winning this Sunday? Use a simple scale for me of 1 to 10. 1 being you think this team is not going to win, you think they suck, which I don't know why you have any 1s in there. 10 being you're locked in, loaded. This team unquestionably is actually the best team in the NFL. They're going to blow out the Browns. I'm out of 10. I do think they win, though, this week. Let's talk defense now. The total yards per game. Overall, both these defenses are quite good, quite talented. The rushing yards allowed by the Ravens have been very impressive, under 89 this year. They allowed a decent amount of passing yards. They're a little bit lower in takeaways, but what matters, of course, is the points per game. And that is incredibly important for Baltimore. Both these teams allowing about 23 points overall. A couple inconsistent performances, but I am excited to see what the Ravens can do given the way the Browns' offense has simply not been clicking as of late. Anthony Averett's been one of the most targeted cornerbacks in the NFL due to injuries at the position. He's dealing with a groin issue, early questionable designation. It's, only Wednesday right now. But I do think Averett has a good chance of playing. And yes, he's been picked on. Yes, he's been beat a decent amount. But he's still playing at least a solid enough level. It's not special, but for a guy that was, hoping you were going to be a backup corner at most this year, you've been doing okay. I asked you guys earlier to subscribe to us here at Ravens Rundown. If you haven't already, go subscribe. Guys, it's really simple here at Chatbot. It's a meritocracy, if you will. The more subscribers we have, the more videos we can do for you guys. We've been doing more Browns videos, not me with the team here at Chat Sports, because they've got more subscribers. If we can catch them, maybe that means more videos, and it will mean more videos for you guys in the future. So if you want it all for free, subscribe today, youtube.com/RavensTV. The AFC playoff picture. There is a lot riding for both of these teams in this particular game. The Ravens right now sit just a half game back of the Tennessee Titans. They are 7-3 behind the 8-3 Titans. The Browns are technically 10th right now, despite being 6-5. The depth in the AFC this year is kind of incredible and makes things very fascinating and interesting, as the AFC North, I should say, every team is above 500. The Browns right now are 4th in the division at 6-5. Now, look, there's some tiebreaker stuff, literally a tie involving the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the Ravens are and should be considered the favorite right now. I think they are the most complete team in the division. So if you guys agree with me, I want you to like today's video. If you think the Ravens can, and maybe we should say will, end up winning the division, like the video right now. Of course, there's a lot going on in this game, on this preview video. I would be remiss if I did not include my score prediction this week, since I asked you guys to do it at the beginning of today's show. I've got the Ravens winning in a close one. This is an AFC North slugfest that very much comes down to the wire. So give me the Ravens at home to take down the Browns in a thrilling AFC North matchup in prime time. You can bet the instructions to the officials will be to keep the game close. I've got the Ravens winning 24-23 over Cleveland.